Everyone, and welcome to another video. My name is Arnie Milken, and in this video we're going to talk about Chinese export controls. Oh my goodness, what a topic. We're going to break down what it is, why it matters, and why you should care for your operations. Now, you know that I post videos on export controls, sanctions, and customs all the time. And today we're going to talk about China export controls. We're going to look at the key legislation so far. We're going to look at the regulation of the People's Republic of China on export controls of dual-use items. We're going to look at Article 49 of the dual-use regulations, some new export controls coming up in China. Then we're going to look at some recent notifications and then talk about China-US deal, China-EU deal, and conclusions, next steps as well. So welcome. If you are ready to dive into China export controls, then let's go. Hey, we publish these videos, these update videos all the time, and we even have a longer version of that. Over 1 hour of details on China export controls ready for you. So if you're interested in that, then check out the description down below, because there you can find a lot of information of how you get your hands on a full 1 hour recording of this. Now, as always, before we start, remember that this content of this video is provided for information only and does not constitute legal advice. How could I advise you if you're even so far away? I'll make every effort, everything's correct, but you should not rely on this webinar for making decisions. So, what is the key legislation so far? In China export controls, everything kind of started in 2020 with an export control law that established the legal framework for the foundation for export controls. We then had a unreliable entities list, so the bad guys for China that harm China interests were put on a list, followed by sanctions law, anti-foreign sanctions law of 2021, and then the crucial one, the regulations on export controls of dual-use items from 2024. So crucial regulation, because not only does it have the list of dual-use items, so these are items which can be used for military controls as well as for commercial use. So, but it also establishes a real good control framework of how to apply how to apply for licenses, how to get the license in order to export things out of China. And of course, we have a catalog of dual-use items and technologies, and this is being discussed right now for amendment. Now, you know that the regulation, maybe you do know that the regulation of the People's Republic of China on export controls and dual-use items has over 40 articles. I can talk a lot about this, and I actually do in the 1 hour recording where we go through chapter by chapter of this dual-use regulations and explain to you. But the one thing I want to focus on in this video is Article 49, because this is often forgotten. And it states that where foreign organizations and individuals transfer or provide goods, technology, or services from a foreign non-China country to another foreign non-China country, then this may also require a license. Now, that's crazy, because that could mean if you're sending goods from the UK to the US, and they are Chinese goods which you may have imported 2 months ago, and they're dual-use items or they're military items, these could be subject to export controls. How crazy is that? Now, you need to check these laws, and you need to check the new export control license rules for dual-use items as well. They have been published by MOFCOM, the Chinese Economic Ministry, and they were up for consultation. Now, the consultation has closed, and we are waiting for the new version. But you should check out the changes. We'll discuss them in the webinar as well, full 1 hour one. Now, really, the topic of the update for 2025 or 2026, depending on when you're watching this, is of course that the discussion on rare earth, and you will see this in the news quite a lot. Why rare earth materials from China matter? Well, they matter so much because of China's global dominance in this. China produces the majority of the world's rare earth, controlling critical supply chains. Also, they're key for high-tech industries that we need in the US, that we need in the UK that we need in Germany. So they are essentials for things like electronic, renewable energy, electric vehicles, and defense technology. And of course, they are very strategic and have an economic impact. Any disruptions to the supply of these rare earth materials can affect global markets, pricing, and even national security. So it's really important that we, have access to these rare earth materials, and they come predominantly from China. Now, as you may have heard, China recently, beginning of October, published many different notifications, or to be specific, MOFCOM. They published notifications that reinforce China's expanding oversight and strategic importance of technologies and resources. So triggering a tighter domestic controls and a growing extraterritorial reach. And these notifications, they introduce controls on various rare earth metals, super hard materials, artificial diamond powder, rare earth production and processing equipment. Also, more specific heavy and medium rare earth items. And of course, controls on lithium batteries, cells and packs, of course, very important. And amongst them are two notifications, number 61 and number 62, that you should really check out. Why? Because number 61 introduces extraterritorial jurisdiction for the first time, based on Article 49, which I had explained earlier. So this is the one that we are now looking at very closely, because 61 is very similar to the US BIS affiliate rule, okay? And it even includes a presumptive denial for military and WMD related end users. Now, if you're confused with all of what that means, then please book a meeting with me and we can discuss it one-to-one, what all of this beautiful things means. But we want to keep it concise and to the point, so yet you can get on with your merry way, and so can I. So this is why you need to look at number 61, notification of MOFCOM 61, which will tell you all about this extraterritorial jurisdiction. Number 62 imposes export controls on raw earth material technologies, not the items, now the technology. That covers mining, smelting, separation, magnetic material production, recycling, and of course, production line technology. So all of these are new notification of what has already come in force and is now the law of the land in China. So if you are working with Chinese to export goods, raw earth out of China, you may need a license. You may need a license. And if these users that you're using it for are for military or weapons of mass destruction, WMD, you're not going to get a license. The goods can never leave China. Now, remember, this is for certain items, but now also the technology. So the smelting, the production, separation, mining, all of that. And even for technology tech transfers, such as how-to guides or drafts, or even telephone conversation, education, all of that may require a license. How crazy is that? Now, you may think that is totally crazy, impossible. So enter the US, enter a little bit Europe, but mainly enter the US and say, stop all this. I don't need all this. I will never comply with all this. You have to stop everything or else I will put tariffs. So China said, okay, we are not going to implement any of these notices for 1 year. 2026 is the year where you get ready, because China may introduce all of these notifications 1 year later. And then we're stuck with the same situation that we need a license in order to import goods from China and to export them out of China. So the message is clear. China is tightening on export controls. The US managed to get us 1 year extension, which applies also to the EU and the UK, because it's been globally suspended. But this will not happen forever, not happen every year. So you got to think about what does that mean if you are getting rare earth materials for maybe the defense or the aerospace industry from China. Think about what you're going to do in order to make sure that you can continue to get this supply. And you may need to understand China export control law, and you might need to go into, sending messages to MOFCOM and emails in order to get that license. If you need any support on this, we have helped quite a few companies, multinational companies, global companies, to get the Chinese export control license. Now, I don't speak Chinese, but my friends in China do. Okay, so together we can make it happen. So if you're interested in that, you know what to do. Just book a call, get in touch, and we can talk about it. Now, if this helped you in any way, then please click the like button. Hit the subscribe button. We always value it, and share it with those that need to know this information. And if you're interested in the full 1 hour, 20-minute discussion on this topic, then you can find the link on what to do to get it down below. And we'll send it to you, no problem. All right. Until then, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.